Okay, I'm here with some questions from Daniel Crowley today to kick this thing off. Okay, question one. How do I know if social media use is really connecting me? It's funny how it's phrased. How do I know? I mean, I suppose it's the same way you know if anything is connecting you. You can be in a crowd of people or with friends and not feel connected. I mean, there's an internal sensor there. So if you're on social media for 4 hours and you don't feel connected, that's how you know. Sorry if that's a cheap shot, but that's what I got. Okay, question two. Why is being rejected in the dating game so devastating? I have never been rejected. I think probably the most convincing answer I've heard about this sort of a thing is attachment styles. I think that gets to that reptilian, completely pre-rational circuitry that undercuts us when we are rejected. There's so much at stake. There's this concept of the life partner. There's a level of physical connection that we don't have with anyone else. There's the memories that it brings us back to of our mother and whatever weird problems we had with how we responded to affection when we were very young. And somehow all of that apparently gets hardwired. And I think rejection at that level in particular signifies that we aren't special. Because I think what people are looking for when they're dating is they're looking for the person who's going to treat them like they're more special than anyone, and in a particular way, not necessarily because of their meritable qualities, but just because they've been chosen as the special person. So I think that it's that dream being torn away, which is so devastating. Okay, question three. How can I welcome help from family and friends when I'm feeling like I don't deserve it? That's sad. I'll start by saying that's not a feeling that I have very often. I've not welcomed help before because I didn't want anyone to know that I needed help. But I don't know if it's ever come from that place of shame that it sounds like you're talking about. Again, there's an interesting wording here. How can I? You're asking for a method. I'm afraid that I won't be able to give you a method. It sounds as if there's a blockage. There's a blockage or a hardness going on. I mean, shame typically has a kind of hardness. Disgust has a kind of hardness. And until that can melt into a gentler form of sorrow and pain, I think that you'll have a hard time of it. I don't want to offer too much of a method because I don't know if that really exists here. But one thing you could do is go to your family and make that part of your spiel. You could say, I am feeling like I don't deserve this. Maybe your family doesn't know that. I mean, maybe that would be even harder for you to say. I'm not sure. But some place where you can grant inclusion to that sense of not deserving it. I think sitting for a long time with that feeling of not deserving it would help to dissolve it into a more basic form of pain. Because once you just know that you're bad off and everyone's bad off and there's nothing special about you being bad off, anyone can help you. I think that there's a clarity in animal pain that you don't get with shame. When you just know that you're hurting, then you can get help. Okay, next question. Why don't I meditate when I know it's good for me? Yeah, I've gone weeks without meditating, and then as soon as I do it, I'm like, that's what I should have been doing for weeks. I mean, it seems pretty simple to me. I mean, it's the immediacy of the reward of not meditating is that you get to stay hidden and neurotic. Okay, I think it's because meditation brings us to a point of rest. And once you have that, there is a level of authenticity and stillness which we like to avoid, because the machine can run on just about anything. It can run on any kind of drama. It can run on positive actions, negative actions, happiness, sadness. But meditation is just about the only thing that asks you to stop the machine. It takes you outside of the complex. And I think that global issue is what's being avoided when we're not meditating. Okay. Final question. How can I help fight climate change and social injustice without losing my soul? Well, first of all, I'm probably not the best candidate to answer this because I'm not too involved with climate change or social injustice. I think in oblique ways, maybe on good days, someone could say that I'm helping the fight for climate change or social injustice, but not on the surface. Maybe I can say something to the losing without losing my soul question, because that has a more basic form of trying to change anything in the world for the better, which is always very difficult because imagination is like a wide-eyed child seeing everything good in the world and walks across the train tracks to meet reality, and then reality comes and smashes it. There's a reason why we have phrases like the ways of heaven are not the ways of earth. It's built into the nature of things that decay and destruction is very, very inevitable. There's a degree of hubris in trying to overcome all of the evil in human affairs. Here's what I think. You don't lose your soul because you're losing the battle. You lose your soul because you're invested in the battle in the wrong way. It's inevitable that you lose the battle. I mean, the end of the story is that we die. For example, I know many people who get into this neurotic issue where they really, really want to save the world. Maybe this is like the typical case of those who are trying to be a hero of some sort. But they get into this issue where they really, really want to save the world, and they're actually doing very little. And it turns out that the actual issue is something like they don't have a girlfriend, or they don't have a job that they like, or one of their very basic needs are not being met. And so there's a way in which proportionately the simplicity of the neuroticism is counterbalanced by this super, super goal philosophy that they have in their mind. Whereas maybe if they got a girlfriend or a job or a circle of friends who they really cared about, that all of a sudden they would maybe both be happier about their situation in the world, and they would actually probably be more effective at solving the things that are wrong. I don't want it to appear as if I'm dodging the question or saying, you're neurotic as shit, because that is not always the case. There are certain global issues right now that are very serious, and I think that are especially demoralizing to tackle because of their scope. And so I think there's real credibility there, which is not a matter of personal neuroticism or basic needs being unmet. And to that end, I think there's the world, and then there's spirit. I hope that's not too sharp of a distinction. I think the basic way that people keep their soul while trying to change the world is by grounding themselves in something which is unchanging. Meditation or spiritual practice, I think, does this for most people. As long as all you're focused on is how you can change things for the better, there's a kind of natural hubris that develops, which always demands punishment. As long as you understand that somehow the state of the world is not the most important thing, I think that's how you're okay. You know, people talk about work-life balance. This is like saving the world life balance. As long as you're connected to something which is not dependent on outcomes in the world, that's what keeps your sanity. There needs to be something which is unwavering in principle. Back when I used to be a cashier, there was a long period of time when I was really into saying hello to people, and I loved the ritual of that greeting because I felt like I was doing everything I could to make genuine contact. And even with the people who were really shitty about it or were just like assuming that I was having a bad day because I was working as a cashier, I still felt so good knowing that I was present saying hello to these shitty people. And at some point in time, I lost that quality, and I started to feel that when someone didn't reciprocate the hello or the greeting or the conversation in the way that I was looking for, when they were rude, it started to really piss me off. All I know is that there was something that was really special about that ability to be kind without demanding that someone else be kind. There's a limiting of the locus of control, where you're not concerned about controlling things you can't control. You're satisfied knowing that your efforts are maximized. Okay, that's what I got. Okay, and so this is for a philosophy forum Q&A. So just shoot me questions, and I'll do my best to answer them shooting from the hip. All right, peace.